Hello everyone, I'm Zhizhong Lu from the City University of Hong Kong. Today I'm glad to share our work, the Crafts+Fabrication workshop. So there are many different types of intangible cultural heritage in China, and they were passed down through oral mentoring or apprenticeship. However, a lot of such practices are suffering from the lack of interest in the local communities, especially among the younger generations. So Cantonese porcelain is such a practice in Guangdong province, and actually such Cantonese porcelain is very famous in Europe. So it's like a very important export uh, product in Guangdong province. However, actually, still a lot of young people do not really know Cantonese porcelain, even in Guangdong, and even fewer want to learn about these skills. So that's a sad fact, right? And the government is concerned about this, so there are actually a lot of measures taken to at least try to engage more participants from the local communities, especially the young generations. So a lot of participatory design workshops and ICH related experiential workshops are hosted like in many cities. However, through our involvement in such workshops, we found that um, the effectiveness of these workshops is a little concerning. Like they are not very effective actually. So they mostly lasted very short term, like only 1 or 2 days, and the participants had very limited interactions with real ICH professionals. And also, they have very shallow engagement with the skills. It's more like they just play around with the tools, but did not really learn much about the ICH practices and skills. So that led us to consider if we can better design ICH related workshops to further um, have better effectiveness in terms of like transmitting or safeguarding intangible cultural heritage. And in light of the makers movement, especially like personal fabrication and like programming, we we thought like if we can combine like traditional crafts plus fabrication to further improve our workshop, and especially considering like Cantonese porcelain, which is a traditional crafting skill, uh, like it shares a lot of a lot of things in common with like digital fabrication, like personal fabrication. So that's the rationale of like combining crafts plus fabrication in our ICH workshop. And our workshop lasted 4 weeks so that it ensures more deeper engagement with ICH practices. And we recruited 30 students from art and design, both undergrad and postgraduate students, and they're mostly novice in ICH and programming. And the workshop involves a lot of materials we prepared. So we consulted the ICH professionals to come up with the taxonomy of Cantonese porcelain. And we also compiled the knowledge cards, which have different types of knowledge covered to help students better understand such ICH practice. And the students can refer to these knowledge cards throughout the workshop. And the workshop involves lectures, talks by the ICH professionals, prototyping, uh, digital fabrication, and presentation. So a lot of different activities involved. And most importantly, the ICH-oriented creative design. So the students were asked to work in groups to come up with their design. So they are required to use digital fabrication tools and combine ICH elements in their design to create innovative uh, creative design, ICH-oriented creative design. And to conduct the research, we observe all the students' activities and we interview them throughout the workshop. And we also had several focus groups with both the students and the ICH professionals to reflect on the process and the outcomes of the ICH workshops. So I'll just briefly talk about the key findings in this talk. So we found that there were pros and cons of involving digital fabrication in such ICH workshop. So on the one hand, the students were attracted to learn more about both the ICH and the digital fabrication. So they would like to like design and also try different strategies using digital fabrication tools. And they have very high interest in both. However, the ICH professionals noted that it might not be a good thing to emphasize too much on the digital fabrication. Like they may still not develop enough interest in using traditional tools, and also they may still lack knowledge about traditional ICH skills. So it's really a trade-off, like how much we emphasize on the digital fabrication and how much we emphasize on the ICH. Secondly, we found that cultural contexts have influence on students' design choice of material and technology. For example, they may choose material based on how the material reflect cultural context, and also they choose different technology according to culture. And because of this, students actually also have misunderstandings about the core concept of ICH. So there was failure in choosing representative ICH elements because they did not have deep enough understanding. And some students actually direct copy ICH elements in their design without uh, without like a clear understanding of it. So the design might be not ideal, or they may over design, like they use they use the elements too much in their design, which again did not reflect the essence of the ICH. So when reflecting on the findings, we thought that we should prioritize cultural authenticity in ICH creative design. So during the design process, the students should also have original schema of the style of ICH in mind, rather than randomly selecting peripheral features or elements of ICH as the focus of their design. And we should further improve students' engagement with ICH through technology, especially let them engage with ICH more thoroughly, like not only the ICH features or elements, but also like the material and texture. And if only if they pick up the traditional tools to make something could they learn how to create an artifact. But in our workshop, maybe the engagement is not enough, especially with traditional tools. And because traditional tools are also part of the ICH practices that need safeguarding, future ICH design workshops should consider using a hybrid form of tools, for example, leveraging both technology-enhanced traditional tools and tradition-embedded digital fabrication tools. That's all of our talk. Thank you very much.